blessed morning to you all. Today I would like to talk about the Sabbath day and what this means to all of us. In Genesis chapter 2 it says, "Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating he had done." In this, God models a rhythm of work and rest for us. The reason I use the word rhythm is because Sabbath may be observed on Saturday, Sunday, or even a Monday, as long as it is a consistent rhythm. The word Sabbath comes from the Hebrew word Shabbat, which means rest, and keeping it holy is one of the 10 Commandments. I came across this verse in the book of Isaiah, which says, "If you keep your feet from breaking the Sabbath and from doing as you please on my holy day, if you call the Sabbath a delight and the Lord's holy day honorable, and if you honor it by not going your own way and not doing as you please or speaking idle words, then you will find your joy in the Lord." Now, Sabbath is not meant to be restrictive. Far from it. Jesus himself says in the Gospel of Mark, "The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath." The Sabbath is to benefit us, to free us, to refresh us, and to refocus our hearts on God and His dominance. My observation of the Sabbath has looked different through my different seasons. As a young Christian, I would go for morning service, then evening service, and I would have even attended a third service if there was one. However, as a new mum, this became harder. It is impossible to explain to two young boys that Mama and Papa need to rest and soak in God's presence. So, Sabbath invariably became a checkbox that we ticked. We went to work for 5 to 6 days, then on Sunday we went to church and tick, we had met the requirement. This curfew time, God has really been challenging me on what it is to observe the Sabbath, especially when all the days of the week now look pretty much the same. He has been pushing me to move away from a legalistic observation to a meaningful one. With the curfew, as the lines become blurred together, how we chose to set apart Sabbath needed to adapt. I have to admit, we didn't do very well the first month or two. Bleary-eyed and exhausted, we sat on our sofa in front of the TV on Sunday morning, barely able to take in what was happening on the screen as our children ran around demanding our attention. However, soon we began to see this curfew as a gift, to rediscover the heart behind what we do. Sabbath is not about going to a physical place and checking off a box, is it? So we sat down and had a discussion on what observing the Sabbath looks like for our family. The first thing on the altar on Sundays were our phones and social media consumption. Next was, for me, my planning of housework and what needed to be done. This required a bit of effort to make sure everything was ready in advance, cooking extra on Saturday and having closure with the housework. This being said, there will always be things to do, but I am learning to switch off, not an easy task as a perfectionist. I am learning that it is a day for acknowledging that God is in control and not me. Then, after living in our hadu clothes the whole week, or even still being in our pajamas, we decided to get washed and dressed up on Sunday morning. We were dressing up for God. We tried to sleep early on Saturday night and to plan and make sure our children were napping or occupied. Then we tried to not watch the service as if we were watching a TV program, but actually close our eyes as much as possible to just focus on the words, join in with the worship, stand up, raise our hands. Now, none of this is done to be ritualistic or legalistic. There is absolutely nothing wrong in doing or not doing any of these things. God looks at the heart condition, as we know, and these were just things that we decided. But how does this look like for your family? It is not a day to be holy and solemn or a day of deprivation, but rather to find rest for your soul, taking a break from the to-dos and figuring out what gives you rest, be it solitude, communion, music, writing, even baking, anything that you find pleasurable and not work. Most importantly, it is a day for immersing ourselves in God and even asking Him for guidance on how we can observe the Sabbath, even between week to week. May God bless you and keep you for the rest of the week and make His face shine upon you. Amen.